Hey guys, how are we? We're doing a session breakdown for one of my songs from my latest EP. This is the song Ravel, and I'm here with Andy Zarins, my producer, my mixing engineer, my friend, colleague, lover. No, just kidding. Andy's
I
here
like that.
all the way from Greece, tuning in.
I was going to say, I like that friend was third on the list. The hierarchy is
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. That's exactly where you belong, mate.
Dearie me.
So we're gonna jump into Andy's Ableton session. He's got the mixing session for Ravel. Um, we might do section by section. We'll start with the A section. We'll talk about some of the guitars in the intro. Quick disclaimer: this intro was inspired or ripped off from a Maurice Ravel song, hence the name Ravel. It's a it's the intro of the song that I reworked into the guitar. And yeah, we might have a listen, Andy.
Cool.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful.
So I know that we've gone for kind of a lo-fi kind of vibe here. Um, Lo-fi guitar, lo-fi beat, especially for the first half of the song. From memory, we definitely used, I think, one of my first takes on the guitar for this. Just gave the lo-fi vibe more than I tried to sort of polish it in later takes and make it a little less push-pull, a little more hi-fi, but it didn't really fit. So if you want to maybe talk about the tone and the way the guitars felt to you, maybe Andy?
Yeah, sure. There was something special about the way that they came in. It's sort of like I don't you hear these stories all the time of like really big artists where they just there's something about the demo take that they did that just captured some sort of magic. And I feel like we've really got that here as well. I mean, you can sort of see like we definitely pushed and pulled it and like chopped stuff up and like faded this out and like fixed little bits and pieces and stuff like that. And when you listen to it solo, in complete isolation, you can kind of hear that it's not by any means like a perfect take. There's some like flood notes, there's some string noise, there's like some of like the groove, it sort of like lags and then pushes and pulls and stuff like this. But it gives it like a really interesting character that like I don't know, it really sets like the foundation of the entire song. And it's really interesting as we get deeper into it. I kind of feel like the guitars being so muddy and kind of yucky and I don't know, there's a certain level of intimacy to it. I don't know, it set the stage for every other creative decision that we made after that fact. Like we wanted the drums to feel a certain way because of that, the bass to feel a certain way because of that, like the types of reverbs that we used, whatever, it was all informed based upon this core thing. So I think what was really cool, what we discussed, one of the times we talked about this song off camera, was the fact that like it, when you listen to classical music, because the song that you reference, Je de, whatever it's called by Ravel, oh, it's obviously impressionist, it's classical music. Um, and I feel like in that tradition, it's very much about capturing the not only the performance but the room that the performance is in. So it's like deeper than just the notes being played and the piece itself being executed. Well, not obviously heaps deeper, but subtly deeper. Like you kind of want to hear the string noise and the musician shifting in their chair and stuff like that. And if we solo just like the low guitar, you can kind of hear like strange string noises and things like this. So it really feels like it creates a space that you're in it. You're performing. I don't know. It feels kind of special to me. So I mean, maybe I'll play the low guitar in isolation just to see if we can hear that. there's something really nice about that. Really warm, you know?
It
It's
feels like
gorgeous.
it feels like someone's playing it. I suppose like it feels like a real human is playing that guitar part. I feel like that was a quite a big. I feel like I
Mm,
learned that the take shouldn't be as perfect as I try to get it for this EP in general. I think I went back and sort of unperfected things more than perfected things to give it
mm.
more character. I feel like if I played it perfect, it just sounded like, you know, that sort of Instagram guitar sort of sound where everyone's like quantized and perfect and everything sounds like it's been manipulated to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Or maybe just being a crap guitarist sometimes comes in handy, you know?
I wouldn't say you're crap. Have you shown everybody how quickly you can downstroke?
Oh mate,
Uh,
that's for
what I
your
was
that's
going
for
to
your
say,
eyes only, Andy.
oh, okay, I'm such a special boy. Luckily, I'm in Greece, right? Because you are married with a son.
That's true. You can
Um,
probably hear him in the background.
what I was going to say is, you're right. Like, I feel like and timing as it relates to polish as well as the perfection of a take and how it's produced really kind of it infers a different kind of feeling as the end listener. I mean, this is a really strange example, and it's totally not in the context of this project or anything like that. But the other day, I was listening to Steve Miller Band, and I think one of his earlier recordings came on. I can't remember what song it was, and I was just so shocked at um how unquantized everything was because it was just a real band being recorded, obviously just like playing the track in a room. Um, and I was just so shocked at like, wow, man, it's been such a long time since I've heard music that wasn't quantized, you know, and
Hmm.
it creates a certain kind of feeling. There's something, it's similar to me in the sense of like, you know, when some musicians get a whole track and then they pitch it down like a quarter tone. And
Yeah.
so like everything's obviously consonant in terms of relative pitch, but there's something kind of off about it. And it creates this like feeling of, I don't know, it's like feels a bit unapproachable in a way that's like really curious and interesting to me. And I kind of feel like in a way, having stuff that isn't perfectly in time is analogous to that.
I think it's also just refreshing to hear amongst like you said, so much quantized music as well. So it stands out rather than say you heard unquantized music all the time. I feel like it would get a bit monotonous as well. So it's cool
Yeah, and
to
then true.
to have something that stands out a little bit. So I mean, guitars that push and pull for the win.
Yeah, that's it, man. And I wanted to talk about too, just like the coolness. One thing that I felt as we were producing this track is just like it's really a song of contrasts. You know, it's almost like well, because you got essentially like an A and a B section repeating in terms of the harmony. And I kind of feel like the first half of the harmony feels like one room, and then the second half feels like you've turned a corner and entered a completely different room. Like you know, when you go to like a palace in Europe and they've got like a specific room, it's very ornate and there's gold everywhere, and then it's like there's certain types of paintings, and then the next room's completely different. It kind of has that flavor to me. And while producing this track, I really wanted to try and capture some of that contrast by pushing and pulling certain things. And I kind of feel like the best way to highlight that is to listen to how the top harmony changes from the intro to when the drums come in or when the accompaniment comes in. Because I wanted to kind of feel like this, I wanted to feel like the groove is really settled, like we've arrived somewhere in a very subtle way. And obviously, like the bass and the drums and all this sort of stuff entering already feels like we're somewhere new. But I wanted to kind of do that by joining up the guitars, like kind of gluing them together. And so I want to play it and just sort of see if we can hear it first of all. I'll just solo the guitars. We'll listen from here to here-ish, and just like pay attention to like the top guitar part. It's like I wanted them to join in the stereo field and get a little bit wider, almost like the opposite of like the cinematic effects. You know, when you watch a movie and the ads kind of stop, and then you know the movie's getting real because it goes like this.
Hmm.
You know, I
Hmm.
wanted that feeling orally almost. It sounds so wanky, but
Yeah,
it is.
but I mean, these are all deliberate decisions. I feel like there's a lot of decisions we make that are just instinct, but these are some of the deliberate ones, I
Definitely,
suppose.
definitely. The way that I achieved that was by making sure that both guitars had the same room reverb, basically. which is just like the UAD Sound City Studios, which is an incredible room emulation plugin for everybody who wants like. Just as a side note, I encourage everybody. I'm not sponsored by UAD, but UAD Spark is probably the best value program plugin bundle that I've ever used, and you get such good stuff. But you can see here, um, all these things are sort of automated in different ways. So when it gets here, the room actually gets turned off. So it's sort of like all these like little subtle oral cues, like a reverb changing from being on to off, and it creates this feeling of contrast, which was really important to me for this song.
Like that's something I've learnt in my production game, sort of semi recently, is not to sort of gloss over automation. Like automation gives the track a living, breathing like heart, like turning things on, turning things off, sweeping things in. I feel like in the
Mm,
past I'd just make a track, make a loop, and I just loop it the same way the whole track, and it doesn't have a soul. And then you give it some automation, you volume sweep, you filter sweep, you like you did with the room mics and other room reverbs. Just gives it
mm,
like this extra, almost like it comes to life sometimes and then it disappears and then it'll change in another way, but it's all the same part. So
mm.
it's kind of a cool thing to hone into in your production game, I reckon.
Yeah, there's sort of little things. It's sort of debatable. Like there's some people who think that it doesn't matter. Like you spend ages fiddling around with this one specific delay that kind of tails in this kind of interesting polyrhythmic fashion, and then it's like the majority of listeners are gonna just never hear it ever. But I kind of come from the idea that I think it does matter. Take it from like it's like the subtle little things that you kind of put in that fill up the room sonically, but it's not audible and clear to you, but it
Hmm.
just changes something about it. It just adds a bit of character, like I don't know, like an invisible fingerprint in a sense.
I think it's like that with any profession, though. As soon as you start going finer details, you create a higher product. Like it's just
Mm.
the lower end products are just more basic without all the I don't know, all the extra tweaking. Anyway,
Yeah, definitely.
we might jump down to some drums then to keep things moving.
Oh boy, we're getting
Moving
to
on.
my neck of the woods. All right, let's listen to the drums in isolation. I got percussion on as well. I hope that's okay. So very, very simple. Hey, like
Yeah,
really straightforward. Just creating a sticky foundation for the track to kind of do its weird thing underneath.
I think the bass beat's pretty simple, but it's got some pretty cool, unique sort of elements that are the sort of ear candy, ear tickly sort of parts that
Definitely.
sort of give it that momentum, give it that kind of nuance.
Well, one thing we figured out, I think, listening to this like a little while ago, is the fact that like the actual kit drums themselves are extremely simple. Like if I kind of turn off like the rest of the percussion, it sounds like this. It's very, very simple, and it actually feels really straight and a little bit. I don't know. It's like funny listening to it in context. It doesn't feel as human as what we were talking about with the guitars. And I think that's a conscious decision because you need at least one thing to pin everything else human feeling to. Otherwise, everything's going to be kind of messy and a bit sloppy because it's not all being performed in the same context.
Yeah,
But
it's also the
where I really
genre we're playing with as well. So I guess it leans into the sort of lo-fi drums, lo-fi hip hop kind of drum beat
of
with
course.
the everything else being because I guess traditionally you'd get like a lo-fi sample of an old jazz tune or something, and you'd put
Mm,
the sort of lo-fi drums over the top of it, which are technically, I
yeah.
guess they're more hi-fi drums, but they're made to sound more gentle, I guess.
Yeah, man, nothing like a bit of a low pass filter, gets that. But one thing, this song for me it really runs home the lesson of like it's really the stuff that happens between the downbeats. That's where your groove really is. That's where I mean, it doesn't necessarily only live there, of course.
Hmm.
But for example, it's really straight when you just hear the metronomic 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's when we start to add in these other parts that the groove sort of starts to come alive quite a lot. So I'll play it just with like the foundation element, and then I'll add the other stuff in the percussion to sort of see how that changes it up. then this part. So all of a sudden, it's almost like it recontextualizes the weight and the gravity of those downbeats to me. Just because
Mm.
if you see like these, especially with these ring clicks, when these kind of come in, you can sort of see that they're quite off the grid. They're quite human and they're changing basically every single time. Um, and it kind of gives like a push and pull fashion to the downbeat, even though they're like metronomically accurate. If you can see here, it's exactly on the one, it's exactly on the four, etc. Sorry, no, that is the right part. On the one, the three, and the whatever. And so I think that's really cool. So the groove really lives between. That was important for this track, I think.
I feel like they're all playing that hi-hat role as well. If you were to play it on like a traditional kit, they're sort of the hi-hats would normally give that kind of swagger, that kind of
Mm.
in between sort of feel, but they're you've got a few different elements doing that, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the shell sample was something you chucked over, I believe. Which I've actually used this so much
Yeah.
in other sessions. Like I love it. It's just like there's something about the thick texture of it. I mean, that's why like when we were playing together a lot when I was on the kit drums, and I feel like that style of music that we wanted to play, drummers are using bigger and bigger and bigger hats, and then they're putting shells on top of the hats because it's almost like they're chasing a texture.
Mm.
They want to thicken the hi hats and they want to blunt the highness of it because I don't know, it just makes everything feel more condensed and together and thick. And I feel like that's exactly what we're going for here because you notice there's no hi hats in this. There's no hi hats in this track until we sort of get to the strange glitchy stuff later on.
Mm.
And it's because we didn't want to expand it vertically too much, which is going to take away from that kind of intimate warmth that we're trying to go for. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah.
Are there any plugins or anything you want to talk about based on your drums? Otherwise, we can move up to the bass and see how that's interacting.
Well, when we were working on this, I don't know how, honestly, but I managed to get I managed to get the drum sounding really thick. I was really stoked with it because it especially pops through on like smaller speakers. I honestly don't know how I did that looking here now.
It's
There's
just
nothing crazy. I mean, it's just
one of those things.
I think I was thinking about it. I wanted the drums to not be super subby. Um, because I wanted the bass to really pin down. I mean, especially when you listen to a lot of this kind of music, the richness comes from the bass usually. And then the
Yeah.
drums are, especially the kick drum, is a lot higher up. And then I suppose you can make it feel thicker and warmer by kind of collapsing down the high information and the low information and kind of restricting it just a little bit and then like saturating and compressing the hell out of that. That way it sort of feels like you get this like thickness to it, which contributes to punch, I suppose is the best way to put it. But there's nothing really fancy going on in terms of processing. It's literally just like an EQ. Well, to be fair though, this isn't the mixing session. This is the production session.
Yeah.
So like I think we got it to be a bit thicker, but it's literally just like a bit of a roll off here. Still trying to maintain this like information around like 150 to 200 into an emulation of an 1176, but Blueface. So it kind of has like the character of this. It just feels a little bit more. I don't know. I just really like the way that this saturated the drums into another EQ, which is just to take out some of like that gross woolliness, especially because like your guitars lived here quite a lot, if I remember correctly. And then you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. It's sort of rolling off very heavily here at about 2.5K. Because if I chuck this on, turn this off, see, it starts to become like, it starts to punch you in the face a little bit. And then the
Yeah.
character of the song changes so much.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels a lot nicer. And
It really
that's
like
pretty much,
hugs that snare in. It just says, "Hold on, hey buddy, let's just
yeah.
let's just not let's not be so aggressive. This is a
It's like
lo-fi track. Let's chill."
it's like getting a person and then wrapping them in like a really thick doona and then just
Yeah,
putting them out there in the world. Like that's what the world would sound like to them, I guess.
that's exactly what you did.
Insulated.
We might jump to the bass and see what it's doing. From
Sure thing.
memory, I think this was might have even been a serum preset that I was using that I bounced and sent through to you.
Cool. Let's give it a little listen, shall we? So it just sounds like a square,
Yeah, it's
super low, super subby.
there's not a lot
What's
going
interesting,
on. It's pretty transparent, but it just gives that low subby
yeah,
sort of feel. But I'm pretty sure I just put that there as a placeholder, and we ended up using it. So
yeah, it's because of one of those things. We just didn't need to overcomplicate it because
yeah,
you
it was
just want to
just it did
support.
its job. So it's
Yeah,
no need to get it all
just
fancy. We've really gone to town on some of our bass tones on other songs. So it was nice and refreshing to just, hey, this one
yeah,
works. Let's let's not change it. Let's leave it.
exactly right. I want to hear it in context with the drums, if that's cool.
Go for it.
It was important to me, obviously, because we've got a very lo-fi hip hop inspired drum groove, and it's especially the samples that we've chosen and things like that, and even the tempo, everything. I wanted to almost capture that feeling of an 808, like that thick hits you in the chest kind of feeling. And I think I did a better job in the mixing session about placing it underneath the kick a little bit better. But you can kind of see like what I'm going for is just like rolling off all the transient, or not all, but like a lot of the transient energy, and then like compressing it to be like really, really pinned down and things like that, just to sit it underneath the kick because I really wanted it to be just weight and foundation. Like the song was just, it was rooted in this unshakable, subby foundation, which I think we did.
Yeah, for sure. Like I guess one thing we haven't really spoken about is, I guess well, for this song specifically, I guess our role was I had an initial beat, which was I think I was just using whatever drum samples I had, and it wasn't as lo-fi sounding as it is now. Um, but in general, I think we come together with I'll have a melody or chord idea, and then we'll workshop together. You'll normally do the drum beats, and
Hmm.
mainly a lot of, I guess, what would you call it? The ambient sort of feel the ambient areas. You're definitely better with the plugins than I am in terms of automation. And I guess you come from an EDM kind of world at the moment, you would say?
Yeah, probably like alternative house,
Yeah.
indie-tronica. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. So you sort of put your fingerprint, especially on the second half of this track, which we'll get to. But the
Hmm.
first half, I guess, it's just your sort of, I think we quite tried to keep it as low key,
Hmm.
lo-fi hip hop as we could. So it had this different dimension in the second half. So it's like kind of a song of two genres. It kind of
Yeah.
starts in this place and it ends up in a completely different place, which is not something that we sort of talked about this off camera. It was something that I wasn't sure how to place in terms of where the track fitted or how to release it or how to what to even call it. But I think I just had to let go and go, this is what happened. We've kind of threw paint at the wall and saw what stuck with this one. And it's kind of cool. It's refreshing. We didn't do any reference tracks or we didn't do
Hmm.
any digging to sort of vibe check against other tracks or anything like that. I think we kept it pretty organic. And this is
Hmm.
what came out. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't happen very often. So it's kind of cool to do it that way.
Yeah, I sort of feel like every song wants to be born with some sort of intention in mind. That's kind of what it feels like. It sort of tells you what it should be,
Mm,
and we just weren't sure what the song was saying.
no,
Like, it,
100%.
it, it was saying something, but it's exotic.
Yeah,
It's
it
from a
was like,
different
hey,
place.
I'm a little bit this song's a little bit non-binary. It's just it's just not quite sure where it wants to be, but I think it belongs somewhere for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just take me in. Just take me in as I am. Let it
Exactly.
wash over you
That's what
and
this
come
song
away
is.
feeling. Well, hey, listen, like it, the guy who the source material is impressionist, right? It's just about sound creating, like painting with sound, basically creating like a little scene,
Hmm.
a little feeling. That's
That's
all
true.
it
And
really is.
I think I don't think this was something we were conscious of, but we definitely did that to some degree on this song.
Yeah.
So is there anything else in the A section you want to go through? We've got the guitar melody. We might quickly play over the
Where on earth is that? This guy.
That'll be them.
Yeah, really interesting. Really, really interesting.
Having four, what are the four layers? I know I've got octaves of each, but
So
I
I
don't even
believe
remember.
it's just an acoustic guitar doubling. So this is like your electric guitar here, like a stacked octave.
Yeah.
And then the other two layers are
Yeah, a bit of a texture.
so basically it's just to bring out because obviously like this is quite a rolled off tone that you gave me here for this. And we just needed something to cut through a little bit more because obviously I think the tone that you recorded your melody through is very similar to the tone that you recorded the accompaniment with.
Yeah,
And so
it's
we just
similar.
needed a way to
It's just
make it,
got it's got the auto or the auto filter on as well. I think it might have
yeah.
even been the Logic stock auto filter. I either used that or the Neural DSP Corey Wong auto
Nice.
wah, but either one they're my two go-tos.
Yeah. So the acoustic layer is just adding like a little bit of attack, a little bit of brightness. If I turn it off, you'll hear a bit of a difference. It just feels like it lifts it up and brings
Yeah,
it closer to the front, which
it
obviously
almost gives it like
adds,
that string noise.
yes, yeah, definitely.
We'll
Which
definitely
I think in the
deep dive.
context,
Yeah, sorry, you go.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say in the context of the mix, like it was really important. That's one thing that was really cool working on this because like prior to doing these songs with you, it's just I've not really worked on a lot of instrumental music. And, but it's like applying the same rules. It's like if there's a vocal that you want to like push front and center, it's like it has to be the middle of the track, like the thing that is going to draw your ear. Which means if you listen to all the instrumentation, like there's so much room in the high frequencies for the melody to live, which is why it was important to me to get that acoustic guitar to make it really stand out. It was a cool challenge.
They're nice. We'll definitely jump into more of the guitar layering. I feel like in this EP in general, the guitar layering was the most experimental part. There's a lot of guitar parts that are layered with unconventional things, so it'll be really fun to jump into that, which happens at the end of this in the B section. The guitar layering will be fun to go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
We might real quick before we run out of time. Let's jump into maybe the I guess you call it what do you call it? The
The C
halfway
section thing.
halfway
This one.
house. Yeah.
Like your string ensemble,
Yeah, so we've got a
right?
little string ensemble, flute. What else we got over there? Yeah. To I guess it bridges the
Cello.
gap. It bridges the gap between the two genres.
A little bit.
As in not sonically, as in it literally is a bridge. Like here is the point where it's about to change.
Yeah. Introduces the idea. And I think this is really cool too, because it sort of adds this hi-fi element to it because the flute is it's got a lot of high frequency information. So everything kind of feels like it pulls into focus in a way that nothing else in the track was in focus before,
Mm.
which is really nice. So like if I play it from here, you'll hear the difference. So what did you use to actually capture the samples of the flute, the cello, etc.?
I think they're the Spitfire stuff. The
Like
um
the symphony orchestra
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I think it's all the symphony orchestra stuff.
I think I have that. Oops. This stuff. Yeah, like the BBC
Yeah.
Symphony Orchestra. I
Yeah.
remember that was the one.
Yeah, it's that one. So I've just used that. I normally just use that. It's awesome. It does
Hmm.
everything you need. I don't use any strings or any orchestral sounds in like like a hi-fi or like even like like a cinematic sort of way. I guess they're sort of just there, and it doesn't matter if they sound a little bit, I guess, bad.
Mm.
It's kind of part of the sound.
Yeah,
Otherwise I'd get like real. I'd probably get like a real string player and do all that kind of stuff if I were to do that.
yeah, definitely. If you want a specific articulation and things like that, because I mean, we're not writing. Well, I mean, you might, you might start writing like cinematic, symphonic, orchestral music or something like that. I don't know,
Yeah,
and then it's probably really important.
if I had the budget, it'd be fun to do. But for now, I think BBC will do the job.
Plus, it sort of plays into this strange thing, especially moving into the next section. It feels like it's this strange digitized synthetic feeling. It's like it's organic. It's like organic source material smashed into this way that feels like really crystalline almost. Is like the feeling that it gives me. And so I think it really plays into the fact that the samples. Oh, to be fair though, like the BBC Symphony Orchestra stuff does sound pretty awesome. I think it's just because you can't control like perhaps like the positioning of the players in the room to like a really large degree,
Yeah,
and it
no,
is recorded as an
it
ensemble.
sounds awesome enough
Yeah,
to get away with for sure.
yeah. And, one thing that was kind of like one thing that underpins this track is like maybe this is the impressionist side coming through, but it's also just something that like I really love in production is just adding texture and then messing with that texture in kind of interesting ways. Like one thing that feels very characteristic to this track in terms of the percussion is really the shell sample that you've got going on here. Like it's so strange. It's such a strange sample. And I wanted to make it feel a little bit weirder with auto panning, which I use Panflow, a free plugin to sort of mess around with. You can kind of like draw where it goes and stuff like this. It's really
Hmm.
interesting. But I don't know. For this section, it was almost like I wanted everything to feel even a bit weirder. Like up until this point, the main guitar accompaniment, the low guitar, is sort of this like rock. It's just stable, it's sitting in place. But I think in this section, I really wanted to make it feel like everything was just destabilizing a little bit. So I actually chucked the auto panning on that guitar as well as the shells. And it kind of creates this really weird thing where all these like elements you've gotten used to are like kind of shifting around now. So you don't really know where ground is, which I think sets up the next section really perfectly, destabilizes you a bit before throwing you into something that is even more left of field than the rest of the track. So those two parts together sound like this. So it's like they're moving in different ways in different places and they're kind of swapping. And then I think I also chucked an auto filter on top of that as well. So you can kind of like it comes forward and then it kind of comes backwards as well, which definitely sets up the next section in a cool way,
Yeah,
I think.
before the rug's pulled out, it like puts you in the washing machine for a second.
I love being in the washing machine. It's my favorite.
That's
Shall I just play that?
that's where I go to
Shall I
hang
just
out.
play that? Yeah, I know. Well, no, you get hung out afterwards, mate.
That's true.
Come
I
on. It was low hanging fruit for you, Dad. All right.
So that's all that is. And then that's yeah, that bridges the gap between the lo-fi section and then the upcoming what would you call it? What would you call this next section, Andy?
D for drop, bro. It's the
Yeah,
drop.
I
It's where
guess it's
everyone loses their
a little
minds.
bit Flume inspired with the swells.
Very, very Vapor Soul inspired. Yeah, glitchy, all that sort of stuff. I really loved. I don't know why we thought of doing this. I think it was just one of those crazy things because like we just wanted to have a bit of a play. It was one of those what if we do
Mm.
those? What if we try this sort of thing? And man, I remember just how difficult it was to try and make it work. I think we crunched over that automating so much stuff for so long. I should probably play it for context as well. Man, it's still so weird to listen to. It's so cool,
Yeah.
so interesting.
I think
I
that's
think
why I
there
didn't
are,
know where to put this song because it was just like I don't know. It's not something that, like you said, not something I planned to make. So it just came to being.
yeah, well, it was just a bunch of play, and I think we did cite Flume just inspired by his just glitchy weirdness, especially with the synths that he does. I know he does a lot of like volume automation, and sometimes he'll even put like use gates and sidechains for strange textures. Like for example, one of my favorite songs by him called Quirk is exactly that. So it kind of creates this weird like it's do you know when I don't know why this is the example that comes to mind, but like when you go to a pedestal fan and you talk through it, and it sort of seems to chop up the things that you're saying in this like really strange metallic way. It's
Yeah,
almost
it
like
gives a.
that.
It's like that Billie Eilish thing that she
Yeah,
did on her
exactly.
earlier stuff.
Yeah, but it's like it's being a bit more weirder than that because it's still consistent in that like that tremolated kind of feeling. And so the way that we captured that was really just lots and lots of painstaking volume automation on the strings just here.
Yeah, and it's
But
not done in a like it doesn't look visually clean,
no, God no.
which I
It
think is
doesn't even sound clean. Like we didn't want it to feel
yeah.
like you know it kind of reaches its volume peak before it even like reaches any kind of like note that you would be able to write down in a sense.
And did we do that? Did we do that automation by hand, or was that with a like a controller, or
It was all by hand because we just
yeah,
wanted to really control this, especially like the timing of these like lazy. I don't even know what to call them. These are like dotted eighth notes here.
yeah.
And we'll play it in isolation, maybe against a click, just to hear it. Oops, I didn't mean to click pause. I'm sorry. I think what contributes to this kind of alien feeling about it is the fact that some of them actually just get chopped. They just get chopped right off. Like the volume automation goes from 0 dB to off
Mm,
immediately, and it's very very quite weird because it's like this slow kind of. It's almost like we were imagining being dunked on by waves, in a sense. Like the peak comes very rapidly and very suddenly, but then it just kind of just disappears in a
yeah.
strange fashion. So it feels very inorganic
It's very on
and very
topic
fake.
because I think the song, the Ravel song, I think it translates to like something about water. So there you go. Unintentional
It's
reference.
man, that is wild. But what's a bit weird to me is like it took ages to get the feeling of these like womp 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 feeling. Like we wanted to feel organic, like as if we were sitting behind an instrument playing that feeling, like clunkiness into it. And that took forever to do.
Yeah, because it's trying to we tried to well you tried to by hand draw something that I guess a keyboard player would like naturally play with on like a synth swell or something. Like it's very behind the beat. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that you do and you sort of feel it and you react to the sound in a way. Like you're
Mm.
say I'm playing on a keys, I think the keys would react to that sound and they'd release at a certain point where you've drawn that in. So
Yeah.
that's
You
pretty
imagine
that's pretty
some
cool.
oops, you imagine
It's
some
gone.
guy sitting it's gone, I've ruined it. You imagine some guy sitting there behind a keyboard and his face is like "Yeah," like this, like he's eating lemons for some reason because he thinks
Yeah.
it's cool. And he's
Yeah,
like
he's
smacking the
he's
keyboard like he's trying to kill it.
stanking it up.
He's stinking it up, mate. What's kind of cool is I suppose I really wanted to lean into that inorganic feeling. And one of my favorite ways to do that is by using this like pitch shifter by kilohertz. Because it has this setting when you turn correlate off, which like changes the algorithm that pitches the changes the pitch, sorry. And then you get this thing called jitter, which is essentially like a randomness knob for, it's similar to a chorus, I suppose. I'm probably getting that completely wrong, but that's how I imagine it. But it gives this like really strange metallic crystallized feeling, especially when I'll turn it all the way up so you can kind of hear it. So like it just the second that I turn that off and I turn it back on, it's just like, oh, there's so much more character in there. It feels
Yeah,
crystalline and weird and inorganic and things like this.
it's almost
And
like
I
a
even go so far as,
detune kind of vibe.
yeah, basically, but it's like very, it's like a bunch of randomness, or sort of like what a chorus would do without adding to, like perhaps in a different, more subtle way.
Mm.
And then later on, actually turning that on where here in this section to get a little bit more verticality as well. So adding a second octave above, again with a bit of jitter on top. If I turn that all the way up. Just to give it a bit of height and a bit
Mm.
of, I don't know, it's getting bigger, it's building. I mean, like we're very much like I think you mentioned it a bit earlier before. It's like the way that you would write normally is like you'd have a loop and you just kind of keep throwing stuff at it. And I feel like this section is really it really showcases that process because we didn't go anywhere else. Oops, gotta not destroy the track. We didn't go anywhere else. We just stayed here and we just wanted to build it and add more tension and add more energy for some
Mm.
reason. So it was like
Yeah.
all these different techniques to do it, getting louder, getting taller, adding pitch, adding like strangeness, saturation, all that sort of good
We
stuff.
did a couple of things in the I remember adding a few notes into the string parts to create some more tension in some of the chords and things like that. Because I think we took mainly
Yes.
some of those chords are from earlier in the song, or at least they were. I don't know if they're still there. And then I think to add a little bit more variety, we've added some extensions on some of those chords and made them a few tension notes as well, just to give it. And because they're coming in on swells, it's like it only just pokes through. You don't really
Mhm.
notice that the chords change too much, but it's really subtle. It's really cool.
Well, I believe this is all exactly the same as what we hear in the prior section, just with
Yeah.
more stuff, with more groupings. And you've got like these violins as well. I'll play it without the swells so we can kind
Mm.
of get a sense of what the part's doing before that. That still has those swells. I don't understand
It's got like a
why.
side. Is that a side chain?
Yeah, that probably is the side chain. I'll turn that off now. It's so whack out. Like you,
It is.
it doesn't. It's so strange in
That
that
last
point.
chord too. It's got some dissonance. It's really nice.
It really does. We also wanted to like I put the ducking back in, but I really wanted that to like add more weight to the drums in this section to make it feel like it was like killing it, which was really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
The hardest part about this, I think, was really to get it thick enough so it had impact. Because especially after coming from the first half of the song, like all your guitars, the tone is so rich, it's so warm, it's so thick. And then part of this being so synthetic is that we lose some of that richness. And I know actually, like even in the mix, I kind of feel like I couldn't get it all the way there, which is like really cool. Like the mastering engineer, who I can't remember who you used, but shout out to him. Like he just brought so much life and energy and thickness out of these strings, which is like really, really cool. You can see like there's so much stuff that I tried to do, like running it through 1176, like Decapitator, running it into tape emulation, like just like throwing the kitchen sink at this thing just to try and get it to feel thicker and
Nice.
bigger.
That was a quick shout out to Nicholas from Panorama.
Yo, Nicholas, I hope you're living good.
Man, he would be. He's best in the game.
Best in the game, yo. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the string stuff. Yeah, leaning into that. And there's a couple of other little things as well, like how one of my other favorite parts about that again is just when the ducking of the kick, like the one and the three in this song, when it sucks away the the string swells, there's like a little bit of like a reverb tail after that, which kind of creates this strange feeling. Like it's just not something you'd ever hear in real life. So we can kind of hear it here. It's almost like it gets sucked away, and then you
Mm.
kind of hear the
And then the
reverb tail
reverb
again at the
comes back.
end.
Yeah, it's a very digital sound. It's not something like you said you would ever hear in real life. All right. Are there
Yeah,
any other elements apart from the melody happening over this? The drums, do they change? Are they pretty much the same from the start?
the drums are pretty much the same, but we actually duck out the thickness of the rims and replace that with hi-hats instead, because we just
Cool.
wanted it to get a little bit brighter and have a bit more drive too. So the drums sound like this. It's like,
Yeah, it's a bit more straightforward.
yeah, it's straightforward, straight up. It's still got that kind of like weight because like the hi-hat groove, you can see it's sort of lazy on every single eighth note, but it's a lot more uniform because there's already so much weird rhythmic stuff going on with the strings that you don't want to like take away from that. It's going to get too messy.
Yeah, we'll jump over to my session soon and we'll see.
Mm.
I think there are a couple of parts that didn't make the cut that'll be interesting to look through because I think they sort of got in the
Yeah,
way. So that might be fun to see what could have been and to maybe we'll jump into some of my guitar layering on my session because I think you'll see, unless there's
yeah.
anything you want to show here on your end.
I think the most interesting things like it's this like the guitar not only under it's underneath the guitar melody what you ended up coming through with because I remember you just kept kind of coming back and forth with like oh, melody didn't feel right over the context of this. You wanted something a little bit stranger,
It took us
and
a while to get that actually, yeah.
you came up with one of the most warped solutions that I ever would have thought ever. It's like you put I actually don't know what you did.
That's why I think we'll
I'm
jump
gonna
over
be
to me
honest.
and I'll explain myself.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do that. Here we go.
Okay.
This is it.
We might jump into just actually we'll have a quick look at those. Actually, no, this session only has my outro playing parts. So we'll have a look at what I'm using here. As you can see, lots of layers, lots of things we didn't end up using as well. The main guitar melody, let's check that out. So we've just got octaves there. I'm running the Corey Wong Neural DSP. Mish Auto that checks out. I couldn't tell you what
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what I've tweaked on these settings compared to the original preset, but um, that's the auto wah. Nothing there's turned on. The amp, EQ, it's the cab, and I think I'm using the wash reverb. So that's the reverb I was talking about earlier that maybe has made the cut previously. So they should be the same on those two guitars. All right. And then underneath that, I wanted to create, when you have a background vocal, like a gang vocal, where you've got
Mm,
like heaps of people singing the same thing. I wanted to
mm,
do that, but for the guitar, if that was possible.
yeah.
So I think this is a bounce of a few guitar takes, all slightly different. I tried to detune the strings like a little bit sometimes, so I guess it creates like a chorus effect. But I've also got, well, what else have I got on this? I think this might be the Tim Henson because I was using his, where is it? I was using his multi-voicer. It's this guy. So you can choose a bunch of different intervals to be played on top or underneath, so it creates a giant harmony. I'll quickly show you what that sounds like with just one of them. It's like gives it that sort of alien kind of sound.
Mm, mm,
So that's the multi-voicer happening. Just like a hard low cut and a high cut on that on the EQ. And then I've got a little bit of Valhalla Vintage. And then this is the dimension expander that makes it sound a bit more gang sort of vocals. It's not a reverb,
mm.
it's more of just a space. Um, I think that's by Zephyr. I think they do that one. So this is both low and high. Now, I can't remember if we use this in your mix. So there might be some things that I talk about that we didn't even use. So I'll
Yeah,
talk
well,
I'll talk
I don't
about
know.
my end of the thing, and we'll see what made the cut on your end.
Yeah.
So that with the cleaner guitars, so that's the vibe. Under
Like again,
that,
it depends on that kind of like strange inorganic texture underneath. Like you get the
yeah,
cut through of your actual guitars when there's something kind of weird going on in the middle and underneath. It just sort of makes everything feel a little bit off balance. You don't know
yeah.
what you're interacting with.
So under that, so we've got a vocal sample that I've got. I think they're in octaves as well. I can't remember what vocal sample I used, but it's just a very short snippet of a voice to get some more attack on it. If I pair that with just brings out some real top end stuff. That's with everything so far. Um, I think the next layer is a controversial one. So I went with I saw that the new Logic update had an AI player. So I thought I'll put the chords in, I'll just see what it comes up with. This is what AI played.
I feel like he's overplaying.
What was that?
I feel like he's overplaying.
Yeah. Well, I didn't use any of that as a whole. I sort of used it as a sample, I guess.
Hmm.
So the idea was to see what AI comes up with, and I thought I'll just for an exercise, see how creative I can be with an AI piece of music and use it more like a sample. So I think what I've done, this is the one I ended up using. I've that's been pitched up an octave and reversed by the looks of it. And I've gated it so it only plays during the melody, during the guitar attacks. So it's on its own sounds like this. If I
Yeah, that's the
play,
thing that I was going to say is super weird to me because it's just like there's more notes being played there than the guitar notes. So it's almost functioning like what a delay would be, but it's not a delay at all.
yeah, it's just I guess I just went hectic with the layers. So let's play it all together, just the guitars, and see what that sounds like. And then for the second half, I think I left it the same. Oh, it's been pitched up, but I didn't reverse it. It sounded better forwards. With the track. So that's the guitar layers, and then we've got the outro here.
Hmm.
So we've got some of Andy talking about, I think,
Sometimes you
some
may need to
compression
tweak
and
the
stuff in the
compressor just to
background.
sort of jig it. If there's like a filter, like a sidechain filter in the compressor, sort of just like roll off the low end a little bit.
That was some stuff while we were writing the tune, just a little snippet of Andy.
That's so good.
What's this one? It's just the outro that's been filtered. Um, and then I think I left this gated keys without the gate, I believe, to
Hmm.
play. Oh no, the gate will still be on, but without the guitar melody, so you just hear the gate only.
It creates like a really sweet feeling at the end,
Hmm.
it's like, oh, everything's okay now. You know,
I
it's
don't want
okay.
to I don't want to like be too controversial, but I think that's like an okay way to use AI if you have to.
Yeah.
I could have done that with any sample, to be honest, but it's just it was easy to draw the chords in and then have some piano in those chords.
Well,
And I
that's
think
sort of the thing about it. Like if you got AI, if you went to ChatGPT or whatever, and you're like, what should I do to try things with my melody? I mean, maybe that's acceptable if you're still actually doing it, but it's like you were still you took something and manipulated it into something else. And I feel like that's really what production is, because all these different samples. Like I didn't record the drum samples myself. I took them out of a pack, you know?
that's right. So I
It-
don't see
yeah.
much of a difference. But yeah, anyway, what else? What are the vocals doing at the end? Nothing.
Yes, nothing.
They're gone. They are down and out. They must be automated out.
Yeah.
What else can I talk about here? I think that's. Oh, we can talk about the stuff we deleted and see what. I'm just gonna unmute it for a sec and see what we had.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in the track.
It's definitely this didn't make the track for sure. So I remember it feeling too busy, or at least my ADHD brain said, "This is good. This is filling all the spaces." And you said, "Zach, just chill out. It doesn't need it." So
No.
we'll let the audience decide whether you were correct.
Yeah. It felt very Instagram guitar-y, like that tone
Yeah.
and everything. And did you call it Jara after our friend Jara, or is it
Nah,
Jara after something else?
it's after something
Because
else. I think there was another guitarist that I was like trying to be. It was like that, those Instagram choppy up guitar sort of sounds.
yeah,
I feel like I was going for that here.
like the part, the way that he played it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember I felt like it took away from the other, because it like this was a real creative challenge in terms of producing, especially the section, because there's like so many strange, weird parts that are kind of asking to be like front and center for you to listen to. And so like obviously coming into like the mixing part, it's like, well, what am I highlighting? What am I doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's very, very challenging. So that's why I was kind of like, wait, let's sign them up.
Heck
I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe it
Well,
would have been like literally way better. I don't know. I made a
nah.
bad decision.
Nah, it's good. It's fine as it is. That was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's sort of all I've got on this session. The rest of my original guitars and everything are on a different session. Um, so we could either jump back into your session and see what made the cut from this and have a little look at what you've done to these guitars from what I
Sure.
gave you. Might be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much everything there made the cut except for those little inserts. It was
These
just more
guys
about
here.
like how to, yeah, yeah, the,
Yeah.
the insert stuff that you showed at the end. It was just more like positioning them, trying to get them to sneak out and where to place them. Because like frequency wise, there was just so much stuff that, like I said, wanted to live in a similar area. And so trying to get these things to perform, well, firstly trying to figure out like what role they wanted to perform, where was suitable for them, and how to actually make that work. And then obviously how to like make that feel dynamic over time as, for example, the melody fills out in the final part of that drop section, I suppose.
Yep.
Because it's like they're all contesting for more and more space. So we can kind of have a look at how we achieve that, I suppose.
Yeah, cool. All right, we might jump back to your session for a little bit, and that'll be pretty much the whole breakdown.
All right, we're back in my session just to see what we did to position all those elements. So if I play all the melodies for that sort of drop section, it sounds like this. So like it's really interesting because like a lot of the brightness is coming from those vocal chops, which is fantastic. There's a bit of popping on that. I believe that could be from a gate elsewhere. But basically, just on the actual raw guitar tracks, there's nothing really crazy going on. It's just like vintage console emulation, the SSL 9000, kind of shelving it off, kind of containing the frequency information, creating more space for other things. I really, really liked the 1176 blackface on your guitars. It just like brought out like a thickness and a warmth that I was really, really happy about. Nothing like too crazy either in terms of like, some like trying to catch those peaks, trying to level it out. And then I was looking at this before, a bit of craziness here. I'm not actually sure what this is sidechain to. Oh, never mind. Just a bit of dynamic EQ here, just trying to like clean up some of that transient energy and make it feel a little bit more balanced. Because I think sometimes when you were digging into some of the notes, it just felt a little bit like just got a little bit too woofy and things like that. And that's on both the guitars, basically pretty much identical. Obviously, just with like some of the stuff taken a little bit differently.
Mm.
If you can hear like everything that's going on in the melodies is all very mono. Again, the reason for that is to try and like separate and partition out all these different things. The Vox chops, I made them a lot brighter than what I think you had because they were already pretty bright, but I wanted to soften them a little bit just to add a lot more verticality. And then again, that's nothing too crazy. Just kind of like rolling it off, containing it again because I kind of didn't really want too much after like 12K to be there. I wanted to reserve that for other things. Here, that's interesting. It's interesting why I've applied it. It seems like I've applied a different type of reverb to it versus might be a bit of a doubling up. We'll look at that and understand why. Valhalla is super massive. I think we chose that in the end because it was like really leaning into that strangeness because it just feels really strange. And you can see here that's like rolling off a lot of the width in order to contain it into the middle for those little Vox chop things. So the gated reverb ones, that was really interesting as well. You can see they're even more stereo. Decided to make these, even more mono. Wanted to make them super mono in the middle. Made them even brighter as well than what we heard on your track. Rolling off a lot of that low end information, compressing them down. This is like a pretty crazy, I don't know why I decided to do it at a ratio of 6. That's insane. Really deep threshold as well. I think I just really wanted to be pinned and like really, really, really behind in the background. You can see here, it's not really that much going on for these guys, actually. I think the magic starts to happen when we try to like process it all together. Basically, very, very, very light EQ. I just wanted more brightness out of everything. Running that into an LA2A, and I chose this compressor just to make it brighter, basically. Because I really like the way that it just, I don't know, just the way it brings things forward is just so magical.
And that's that's a free plugin, isn't it?
No, this is the UAD Spark. Oh, maybe it is free now. I don't
I
know,
think it
but I
is.
get it.
I've got the same plugin, but I don't think I paid for it.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, maybe it was
Yes.
a promotion thing.
Yeah, they ran a promotion, I remember now. But you can see here, I'm running that into this like vintage. I'm not actually sure what this is emulating, but it's the Sound Toys Psy-Q because I just really like how it adds top end without it being so piercing and gross. It still kind of stays a bit silky.
Mm.
It adds a lot. Just like brings it right to the front of your face, which I think is fantastic. And then just a bit of saturation because I was a little bit worried that we were losing a bit of body here. So just multi-band saturation, everything underneath 500 hertz, just to try and bring it all back together, which is pretty cool. But that's pretty much what we did with that. I think there might be some interesting stuff going on here in terms of the verb potentially. Yes, there is. The verb sounds like this. Very kind of weird, like non-lin, I'm pretty sure it's like a reversed reverb. You can't control the length of it. I think you can control when it starts in context to the signal source, I believe. There's something really strange that goes on there. You control it with the attack knob.
Right.
What was that, 25%? And again, just making sure this is a lot less wide everything is just in the mid channel here. I'm gonna turn it off. Sounds like this. And so the way that I've tried to position these elements different to what you were showing in your session was that like that jumpy aroundy keys gated thing is actually higher up but quiet. So it's sort of like breaking, I don't know, maybe like a it's like breaking depth in a way. Like it feels more forward and closer to you than the actual guitars, but they're happening at the same time, but there are different parts. So it's like again, just like there's all these really weird decisions that we made to make it feel even more alien and digital,
Yeah.
which
I
is really
think I
cool.
think it made what I was trying to, because before that we had just the guitars. We didn't have any vocal chops, didn't have any of that gated thing. And it was
Mm.
just like bland,
Yeah, I'll turn them off. We can see what it sounds like in context
especially
without that.
compared to what's happening in the background.
Yeah. Mm. So this is what this fuller, thicker melody sounds like in the drop without the vocal chops and without that like gated reverb AI piano player. And then with it back in, like you can see it sort of struggles to find space. It sort of struggles to have like it feels a little bit too organic
Mm.
against it. I think that maybe that's the thing that you were feeling the whole time. Hey, it's just it feels too real. It's too real and too nice.
Yeah,
Let's make it a bit weird on
it's
me.
like a jazz guitarist that's like sitting around and there's like I don't know, like an EDM producer that's just like carving up and he's there just like, yeah, I can join in. It's not quite working.
Yeah. And back in, it sounds like this. So immediately more synthetic. It's got, especially with that, like that, the vocal chop almost sounds like it's a bit crusher being placed on top of it, to be honest with you, without actually destroying the source signal.
Yeah,
And then like
100%.
those strange little AI kind of snippets make it feel, yeah, more synthetic. So it just adds an interesting character to it that I've never really heard anywhere else.
I
And
think
I don't think we've ever done.
we experimented with, like I said, we experimented with a lot of layering on over guitars in all the
Yeah.
tracks. There's a couple that are pretty just straight and narrow, but most of them have some kind of synth or some kind of noise with them,
Mm,
just to give it.
mm,
Just I guess I don't listen to a lot of guitar, even though I'm a guitarist. So I don't really listen to a lot of guitar music.
mm.
I I guess I get turned off because I've heard it so much. So I just want to
Yeah.
add that extra like something I haven't heard before. That's what excites me is
Mm,
hearing things I've never heard before, and especially like hearing the outro of this song where it's just like random snippets of a piano and stuff like that. That's my favorite parts of songs where they're just you're like, how was that sound created? What happened there? That's
mm,
that's my
mm.
favorite like sort of thing to listen to outside of my own music. So I feel like we've achieved that in some spots in this EP.
I think so too. I think my favorite part about all these tracks, to be honest, is like it all feels like a voice memo. You know, there's a lot of stuff in there, us hanging out, talking, those little things. We just wanted it to feel like real, like you're in the room with us.
Mm. Well, that's how we
It was kind
created
of
it. I think this EP
mm,
started, we were in a real room together.
yeah.
Two of the tracks were written in a real room together where
Mm,
we were like hands on. And then the other three tracks were written just like this. I'm here in Melbourne, you're in Greece. That's crazy
mm,
that we can do that.
yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
no,
wild.
it wasn't written to some of it was written where I would write alone and then send you things and you would write alone. But a lot of it was
Mm,
like real time. Like we were together and
mm,
we'd be like, hey, I'm gonna jump on my session, send it over. What do you
mm.
think of this?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. Just like we get on a Zoom call and then we'd be like, okay, I'm gonna work on this thing, and you're like, I'll work on this thing. And we just kind of like we'd mute the microphone and just be like there working together on the same track but on something completely different, like siloed but together.
Yeah. And then you'd pop up, you'd be like, oh wait, I've got something.
Check it out.
Check this out.
And also, I'm in a different house than where I was, but the only place I could find quiet in that apartment, because Athens is so freaking loud, was in a cupboard. I'll see if I can find a
Harry
photo for you.
Potter
There
in
was
the cupboard.
literally, yeah, I put the desk in a cupboard, and then I would hang a blanket on like the cupboard doors so I could be like a little goblin on the inside, then actually be able to hear what I'm doing.
So funny.
This is the loudest, so loud here, man. It's crazy. But yeah, so I was working in a little cave.
Anyway, we made it work,
Making,
and and we put those little snippets like Andy's voice talking about compression at the end there. That's like
yeah,
that's important because that's how we wrote the song. It was
yeah,
talking to each other like this and going, "Hey, how about this? What about this?" So I think that's
yeah,
kind of why I wanted to do these session breakdowns as well because it feels like the same way we wrote it, but we're just
yeah.
sitting here talking about what we did.
Yeah, it's so strange to look back at old decisions that we made because I'm just like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why have I got
100%.
that? What's going on here?
And
But
maybe you
yeah,
didn't know then either. Maybe we just did things.
I don't know. I definitely thought about it way deeper and a lot more in the mixing process,
Yeah.
um, which was fun. Especially this song was so hard to mix, just as a little detour. Like it was a challenging song to produce and it was a challenging song to mix, but I think it turned out pretty damn awesome.
Oh, yeah, I think it's one of my favorites because it's the most different.
Yeah,
And I'm listening
yeah,
to it, and I think it's got your footprint on it the most as well, out of all the
mm,
tracks. I feel like in the other tracks, your role has been more of the background noises and the swells and
mm,
the electronic elements, whereas this one's like the
yeah,
electronic element is part of the main, especially the B section. It's like the part.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that's why I wanted to break this one down with you because it's got Andy all over
It's got Andy all over it, man. I put Andy in it.
it.
Can't get it out.
But
No
yeah.
matter how much you try. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with this one? Is that pretty much?
I think that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty much it.
Well, if you enjoyed watching this, please go and check out the song on Spotify or wherever you stream music. Um, Andy, it's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure, man. Thank you.
And if you want to see another one of these, let us know. We can break down another song. Let us know in the comments. Hit me up.
Yeah. Zach's address is 192. I actually don't know your address.
The poor
You can
person that was going to
you
get
can
all
send him
these.
letters.
Yeah, exactly.
Send him some letters.
All right, dude.
All right, man. Thank you. Until next time.
Yeah, peace out.
Bye.